have done well. Your fans, they identify with your struggles. You are not alone. For you are one of many, thereby making you relatable. Embrace your fight with the next Colossus. Your fans await.
Oh snap, back again. As you can see, I graduated from the closet to the bedroom, doing big things. First of all, I want to thank everyone that responded to the last U video, Hostage of Religion. I legitimately was surprised at the amount of people that could identify or relate to some capacity with what I shared, because I was so scared for so many months to share that because I felt it was so niche and so unrelatable. I would have came off as a weirdo, and then to hear like having all these wonderful in-depth conversations, which is what I wanted to happen anyway, not just to share my story, but to have meaningful dialogue around these topics of other people's experiences and what they think of spirituality and religion and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool. I appreciate that. And in today's video, Dream Killer, I would also like this to be a discussion point because I genuinely want feedback on this. Not that I did it before, but yeah, I genuinely want feedback on this because I don't know. And when I say I don't know, you will understand where I'm coming from. So to begin, we gotta start at the beginning before I can get to the present. I'm looking out the window because the weather is wild and white now, right now with this wind and stuff. But we're gonna start way back, like Pac Sajak, not really. When I was a kid, I was living with my mom. Mom and dad were separated. Every weekend or so, my dad would come to pick me up. And this one particular weekend, he says, I got a surprise for you. But he won't tell me what it is. So in my mind, as a kid, obviously, it's toys. But I trying to guess all these toys, and he wasn't. It's like, nope. I was like, then what is it? He would not tell me for the life of me. He's like, when I come and get you, you're going to see what it is. So later on, he came and picked me up, went over to his house, and he showed me this gray box in front of his TV. I was like, this is a weird looking VCR, but okay. Then he pressed power. Oh, the fence is moving. Then he pressed power. And then I saw on the screen Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. Like, what the heck is this? Then he took up a control, pressed start, and this little man started running on screen. I was like legit bewildered. I was like, what is going on? Like, how is it that you can control what is on the TV with what is in your hand? Like, that was mind-boggling to me. And I remember the learning curve trying to translate between real life actions to this control to what's happening on TV. It was like a weird mind. I can't even use the word. It was a weird mind boggle trying to figure that out. But once I got the hang of it, I was like, okay. Then the new crack kicked in. So my dad, he would travel on to America. He would bring back games. So I had Super Mario Brothers. I had Ninja Turtles, TMNT. Oh God. What else I had? Legend of Zelda, the gold cartridge. I had a Nintendo cartridge. I had 52 games in one. What else I had? Tennis. Man, I had so many. Contra, Super Contra. You can't talk about Nintendo without Super Contra. Let's establish up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Let's establish that. You cannot talk about Nintendo without talking about the Konami code. So I had like so Rad Racer. I mean, I can list the games, like so many games. And because I used to spend the majority of my time alone as a kid, because my mom was a single parent, um Nintendo was my babysitter. Like I would always be playing Nintendo. I love Nintendo so freaking much. Oh, I also had Predator on Nintendo, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator. Oh my god, so many games. And like with any new, was it I wouldn't even call it an addiction at that time. I would more so call it a passion. I was very passionate about playing video games as a child. I remember when my mother would tell me it's time to turn it off, or on Sunday it's time to come take a nap. And she's like, I gotta turn it off. I would play this trick. I was like, I gotta play it till I die. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose all of my progress. That was my way of sneaking in an extra 15, 30 minutes. Because in the case of Legend of Zelda, I think you would lose progress if you didn't save before you turn it off. But she didn't know no better. So I will play it to my heart's content. I gotta keep playing until I die. You know that kind of stuff. But yeah, so she would tell me, I better go to school and study because there ain't no jobs for playing video games. The people that make the video games, they had to go to school and learn too. So if you don't want to be a bum, basically, like, you gotta bring balance. She didn't tell me I gotta stop playing. She's like, you gotta bring balance to playing these video games and focus on school. So then I took that to heart because in Barbados there was no such thing as a gaming industry in, like, what, late 80s, definitely not early to mid 90s, definitely not when I left in the 2000s. No such thing as a video game industry. So I focused on the next best thing, which was art. Like I said in the prior video, in every class in school, if I wasn't top three, I was the best artist always. So because there was no perceivable future for video games, I focused on art. Even though, like, I would get all the different gaming magazines, or see them, I should say, like Nintendo Power. I forgot what's the other one. I don't want to mess up the timeline and say Game Informer or Game Spy, but there was those game magazines. Nintendo Power is the only one that comes to mind. Um, I'm like, wow, it would be so cool to make video games. I remember in the back of one of these magazines, there was this ad for, like, this program to be able to make video games. At that time, like, Street Fighter was big, Killer Instinct was big, Mortal Kombat was big, so it was like a 3D model video game. And I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to be able to do that. But of course, there was no avenues or way into that. So focus on art, went to community college, got an associate's degree in fine arts, because at the time my art teacher in secondary school, what Americans would call high school, was saying if I wanted to be a comic book artist, which is what I wanted to be, um, it was best to have a foundation in fine art, so you have, like, the rudimentary skills of, like, anatomy, shading, painting, all this kind of stuff, so that when you transition to that, it will be a lot easier. So focused in fine art, graduated, came to the Savannah College of Art and Design, majored in sequential art. I think maybe at that time, possibly, quite possibly, at SCAD at that time, there was, I don't know, maybe there was, and something to do with gaming, or maybe it's a new thing. I know they definitely have departments for that right now. Maybe not. I don't know. But even if there was, it wouldn't have been on my radar to say, hey, let me switch majors and try to do video games, because by that time I was so deep rooted in the mindset of being a cartoonist, and at the time a Christian artist, and following the so-called perceived will of God, and being a Christian cartoonist, that nothing, I was so tunnel vision to that nothing else would have been acceptable for me. So graduated with my bachelor's in sequential art. So that was from 2003. So from 2003 until 2000, and I want to say 17, I was so focused, hardcore, heavy on art. Um, like I said, tried so very hard in every capacity to get hired, and in an artistic organization, um, which was kind of difficult at the time, um, to really pursue all of my options because of my immigration status at the time. So like what I would do is I would have like solo art shows. So I remember the very last big art show I had was at Taps Art Center in Columbia, South Carolina. Garden Art Resonance. The vent not the vendors, the facilitators, the curators, whoever, the owners of the establishment said that they had not had that much foot traffic in a long time. Like my exhibit was like really popping. Like a lot of people were talking about it. I was on the news, all this kind of stuff, and still nothing amounted from it. In that time span from 2003 to 2017, I also did like won a few screenplay competitions. I wrote a script, and I was expecting something to come of that. Nothing came of that. What else I did? Mastered photography. It was like I was not idle in those 14 years. I was not idle. I tried so very hard to pursue my dreams, to find a way in into the industry. But no matter what I did at every corner, fan alert, no matter what I did at every corner, it was like closed doors or no opportunities. And then people are and friends who were in the same field as me, when they put forward effort or sometimes the lack thereof, they were getting like all these open doors. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I was literally following every step that there was to follow to be successful, every procedure. And I said, what you did? I did everything they did to the T, and still nothing panned out for me. Till eventually I just became um bitter towards art. Is like I give up with this. This is not. I have tried everything, and this is not cutting it. And around that time, I believe it was January 2017, uh, when WWE Champions came out. Early 2017, Champs came out. I found the perfect game. It was wrestling. One, I love wrestling. Two, matching gems. I love like puzzle games. I am a big Tetris freak. Tetris. Well, I used to be Tetris. I would say I was addicted to Tetris. I was not passionate about Tetris like I was about video games. I was addicted to Tetris. I remember as a kid, I would be playing Tetris in my head. That's how bad it was. Singing the Tetris song. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Side note: as a kid, wherever I went, my Nintendo went. Went to my grandmother's for the summer vacation. My Nintendo went with me. Man, that was like my best friend. Anyway, oh yeah. So the gem matching aspect of Champions, I love that puzzle aspect of it. So there was that. There was rustling, and then somewhere along the line, well, prior to Champions, like of course, still heavy playing console games. I was before mobile gaming on Champions. I was heavy on consoles with like Mass Effect Trilogy, Metal Gear Solid, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, The Last of Us. What else, man? Any game you could think of that was popping on PlayStation, GameCube, N64, Wii. I was all about it. Again, never popped in my mind to pursue a career in gaming because focus on art. So when I basically was tapping out on art in 2017 and I discovered Champions, um, along the ways, I forgot who was the first person I saw playing. Um, I think it was either Lil C, then Big Proper Brian, and Gerson was just starting out. So I was like, oh, people out here playing this game and streaming it and recording it and uploading it. Okay, that's a thing. I mean, of course, I'd known about games being uploaded on YouTube. Like when I was playing like Deus Ex Machina, and all those kind of games. When you get stuck, you go on YouTube. Hey, how do you pass such and such? How do you beat such and such boss? Of course, I knew about that, like playthroughs and how to guides, but actually real time playing, Like that was a new concept for me. So I was kind of intrigued about that. I was watching them play and do their thing. And the more I watched them, the more I was like, I can do this. This is this looks like something I could definitely do. I may not have a big roster like them. I may not be able to spend lots of money to do pulls like them, but I think I got enough personality to carry a channel. I think I could definitely do this. So I toyed around with the idea for a little bit. Started a channel. Originally, it was a faction YouTube for Tuvement. Recruit. Shout out to Tuvement. Ricardo 16 Worko. Suck it, boom dizzle. It was a faction recruiting channel. I basically wanted everyone to, hey, upload your polls, upload your gameplays. You know, let's put the faction on. Let's put up recruiting videos and stuff of that nature. So it started from that aspect. Then it's like, hey, everybody in the faction, subscribe to the YouTube because they needed like 100 people in order to get a customized URL name. So I wanted to have like a customized URL to point people to that page. So with 30 viewers, it's like, oh man, 30, that's incredible. I don't think I'll ever get to 100. Then eventually got to 100. It's like, oh wow, that's insane. Don't think I'll ever get to 1,000. Got to 1,000. Like, okay, we're doing things. So by that time, I think around 1,000 or so, it had probably transitioned from being the faction YouTube to my personal YouTube. If you wonder why I keep looking outside and not looking direct at the camera, is because I have this thing where I find it difficult to look people in their eyes while talking. Even myself, it just feels weird. I asked my therapist about that. Is that weird? Because I had heard somewhere years ago, like, it's not manly if you're not able to look somebody in their eyes and talk to them. It shows weakness. So I always took that to heart that, oh, maybe the person I'm talking to thinks that I'm exhibiting weakness. I thought, talk to the therapist. Therapist, I don't care, Caribbean. Talk to the therapist. Therapist said, no. A lot of people deal with that. When you're being vulnerable, it's not always easy to look somebody directly in the eyes while being vulnerable. So some people just look away. So that's what I do sometimes. So yeah, I had transitioned to my own personal YouTube, and I was getting frustrated from the point of view of no, let me backtrack. So before I started the YouTube, I said to myself, okay, my end goal with this YouTube is to work with Scopely in some capacity with this game because I love this game so much. I'm so passionate about this game. My sole purpose of doing this is to be able to collaborate with them in any capacity on this game. Send them a couple shout outs on YouTube, on Twitter, follow them, yada yada. Nothing really. I think the one thing that really popped off when Vengeful One at the time, who's the co-leader of the faction, he had tweeted something and Eric had liked it and followed him back. I said, oh great, we have a point of contact. Because you can't DM anyone unless y'all are mutually following each other. And I think at one point they had liked one of our videos. I think it was probably like the first podcast video or one of the podcast videos they had liked. And that's pretty cool. Try my best to make some sort of headway. Because I know at that time, I believe it was Lil C and Big Papa Brian, they were getting to do like character previews. At that time it was King of Kings, Triple H, when they were showing off the new VIP. So they were getting to do character preview. So I was like, oh man, that'd be so cool to do. So try my best networking, retweeting, posting on the Facebook official champions page every video that we had put out from when it was factions to my personal videos. Like every video we put out, I will put it on blast on the champions Facebook page. If you put out 3 videos a day, I tag them 3 videos a day. To the point, I think at some point, I don't know who was running the Facebook page at that time. Maybe it was Eric. Eric just started deleting my posts because it was basically becoming spam. That hurt my feelings, Eric. But whatever. I was hungry. Still am. And I lost track with the giggles and the hee-hees. Yeah, so I was getting really frustrated with the process. At that time, I was in execution. I was like, I'm done with this game. I'm not making any sort of progress or headway with my goals in this game It's like, again, I'm doing all the right things and I'm not seeing any progress. And I was like, I'm done with this game. And Calvin was like, don't quit. He was the leader of execution. He was like, don't quit. We're gonna I don't know why I didn't think of this before. We're gonna bring you into the town hall. It's like, oh snap. So Calvin got me an invite into town hall. So I thought once I was in town hall, um that would have given me more opportunity to do more visibility, to be able to position myself to do more content creation, be affiliated with Scopely in some capacity. And that didn't happen. Well, I at that time town hall wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Um, Not going to comment further on that. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I got frustrated again. I'm like, deuces. Like, that's when I did the whole video, should I quit Champions? I started trying to find other games to play. Nothing wasn't really clicking. Like, I quit Champions. Went back to playing Jelly Splash. I was so sick of Champions at that time. Not only from a lack of progress in my endeavors, but also because um the game was frustrating at that point. Eventually I got bored because, like, what am I gonna do with all this free time? So I decided to play Marvel Puzzle Quest. Hashtag trash. Like, I'm just being honest. I don't know if it's still trash now, but at the time it was trash. Like, when you come from playing Champions where all the graphics and user interfaces and the UX were so sublime, to Marvel Puzzle Quest where everything is just so static, and it's like, it's the same gem matching, but it's not the same. So eventually I toyed with the ideas of coming back to Champions. Like, should I or shouldn't I? So I posted like my little WrestleMania 17 Austin versus The Rock, which is Davey D versus Davey Boy. Should I return or should I remain retired? If Davey D wins, which is Stone Cold, I return. If Davey Boy wins, which is The Rock, I remain retired. Did a whole, I edited the whole WrestleMania 17 match, where obviously, at WrestleMania 17, Stone Cold beat The Rock. Scopely was representative of Vince McMahon. So Vince McMahon obviously screw dropped The Rock, and Davey D returned as a corporate stooge. So at that time I ran the whole corporate Davey D angle. Angle. Wait, I may be missing up the timeline. No, I'm not messing up the timeline. So before I did that angle, and I was toying with the idea of coming back, and I was basically going to play very casually, very, very casually. My idea was I wasn't going to do any month-long contests. I wasn't going to get in that headache of struggling and calculating and blitzing and all this kind of stuff. I was just going to create casual content, just be myself. And Calvin at the time, he was like, well, if you want to come back, you could have this big high-end roster to play with. And I did fool around with the roster a little bit. It had like all these characters I didn't have because I was going to do basically like gameplay of like high-end characters, character previews, like how to play of those characters. But at the end of the day, the thought process was always like, why would you make progress on somebody else's roster when you can make progress on your roster no matter how small? So then at the time, I don't know if so when I came back, I decided to do the server, which at the time was the Champions Community server. I decided to do it where, hey, what we're going to do is I'm going to make a special room for all the content creators in Champions, known and unknown, and we can basically make it like a directory, a one-stop shop for the community. Hey, come to this server. This content creator's video is on this server. So I had Papa Brian, Gerson, Lil C. I think Lil C was probably retired at that time or about to retire. Lil C, Compy, DJ Anon, and like Gmo the Bro, a whole bunch of people. And it really didn't pan out like I would have wanted it to, because I would put out like a weekly digest of, all right, these are the videos that these content creators posted this week. Oh yeah, Zeke was in there too. Benny Smadger, all of them posted this week, here's their channel. You can go see them. Basically, I was trying to use my platform, and hopefully the others would retweet the videos as well, to give everyone a bigger display, a bigger, a wider audience that they wouldn't have had before. And it really didn't work out. And then somewhere along the line, shout outs to Big Papa Brian, he sent me a invite to join the content creator server. Now, I didn't know the content creator server existed. In my mind, Town Hall was like the end all be all, because of Eric would have been there, Brian, Gerson, different faction leaders. So I was like, oh, there's a specific server for creating content? Okay. So Brian got me the invite in. Happy to be there. And it was a step closer to what I wanted. But there was no community manager. Eric had gotten promoted, so there was like a lot of transitionary community managers. So again, I was in stasis. And this whole time, like I'm trying to learn Twitch, how to grow on Twitch, build an audience of Twitch, how to get into the gaming industry. Jeff, shout outs to Juicy Jeff, asking him for tips and pointers and, all these different things, sending out resumes and feelers and networking, contacting my alma mater, their gaming department, alumni career advisors, like, hey, do you know of any networking connections that I can make to get into the gaming industry, all this kind of stuff. And, again, following all these steps and procedures, and nothing is panning out. Furpo came along, shout outs to Furpo, solidified the content creator program, and, organize stuff, can do character previews. Now, Dream Realize officially recognized as affiliated with Scopely. So what I started the channel to do, I actually accomplished that. Check. Great. Awesome. But, after I had abandoned art, I probably didn't mention this, like after I fell in love with creating content for champions and whatnot, I was like, okay, I want to be in the gaming industry. It was like I came full circle to what I wanted to do as a kid. Because as a kid, like I said, being in the gaming industry wasn't an option. Now, there are a litany of options of getting in the gaming industry. It's like, okay, let me just build my following. Like I reached out to different brands that would be congruent or similar to what I'm doing. Like Mr. Maskman, shout outs to MrMaskman.com. Reach out to them like, hey, would you be interested in doing any type of endorsement type stuff of like, I do like ads for your products on my channels, and you blast me on your social media. I did like different wrestling subscription. I reached out to different wrestling subscription things like what was it, Smashbox, Slam Crate. I can't remember, like a whole bunch of different. I literally tried different networking avenues. Nothing wasn't panning out. So trying this time to get into the gaming industry, getting frustrated and at times depressed, because it's like, what more do you have to do when you're doing all the steps to pursue your dreams that other people have followed to be successful? Yes, I know time is a factor. Yes, I know being persistent is a factor. Yes, I know at times like luck and hard work have to coincide, to just get that one shot. Reached out to Eric on Twitter. Hey, what steps did you take to get into the gaming industry? Reach out to other community managers and games. So it's like it's not for lack of effort, right? So getting frustrated. The reason I'm doing this video is because last Friday I was feeling so deflated, because prior to Corona, I had signed up to go to this gaming convention, had my Davey D shirts ready, my business cards ready. It's like I was going to network. They bought new business cards, going to network the heck out of this convention, because somewhere or the other I'm going to make a connection to help my future aspirations. Corona came, screw jobbed all of that. Pandemic screw job. So it's like, I feel stupid. I just bought all these business cards. It felt kind of reminiscent of when I had the art exhibit. printed like a lot of business cards and brochures and stuff. Came back home with like 90% of them. Did a lot of prints, came back home with like 99.9% of them because nobody bought the prints or the artwork. So it felt like investing in yourself was like kind of like investing in failing. So it was like, that was like kind of like a sucky blow. And I was getting, also before Corona hit, like I had all these potential job fairs and different stuff lined up to go, seek employment and stuff. And that just screwed job everything. And because obviously nobody's hiring right now with everybody being laid off. And then um I lost track in my head. I had a thought. So let me backtrack because I forgot this key part of the information. So when my immigration status wasn't kosher, where I wasn't allowed to legally work, I had a benefactor who would look out for me and whatnot. So there was also the psychological aspect of being a grown man being taken care of somebody else. Of course, I know I could have done like any other adult who's undocumented, go out, get work, all this kind of stuff. But back then, I was in the mindset of I'm here to pursue God's will. So anything, any pursuit outside of His will is basically like a waste of time. And so basically being, I did some stuff for them too. So it was kind of like very kind of like working for them per se. And but still, it's still the psychological aspect of a grown man being supported by another adult. So trying also the struggle of trying to stand on your own 2 feet from the aspect of what a man should be or what society deems a man should be. That's going to be another podcast in terms of um what qualifications make a man, because there are attributes that we tend to overlook because they're not heralded. I don't want to get into that because it'll basically cut into the next episode. But yeah, so there was that. So me, okay, I'm going to make all these connections and stuff, and then Corona comes by. Like right now, I'm basically living off of savings, contributing to the household, the home me and my wife have, and bills and stuff. Living off of savings, like obviously you don't want your savings to go down. You want to always have that resource, that surplus. So I was feeling very sucky and deflated that, oh, plus two, all the jobs that I qualify for or I would want to apply for, there's no real gaming jobs in North Carolina. It's either California or New York, sometimes Atlanta, I believe. Those are like the predominant places. So it's like I'm not even in a hot spot to be eligible really to pursue what I want to pursue. Like I would have to work remote. Contacted different companies on LinkedIn and stuff, like milking alumni connections and stuff. Like, hey, do you need a content creator for your product? Blah 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 blah. So you get the point. I know I've been rambling, kind of, but the point is not for lack of effort that I have not been trying. So it was very deflating last Friday. It happens in times like this sadness, this depression, this feeling of defeat comes over me in waves sometimes. Like, why are you trying to be great? Why are you trying to be different than the norm, different from the rat race? I see people wake up, they hate their job, they don't want to go to their job, but they need to do it because they need to put bread on the table, they need to keep the lights on, they need to keep a roof over their head. For me, I was always raised under the mindset, like, why would you go to school to study something, like get a degree in something and then do something completely not related to that? That was a time, that was a waste of time learning, a waste of money learning that particular skill just to come out and do something else completely different. And I do know there are people that, they work their regular 9 to 5 and still pursue their true passion. They use that to funnel finances and resources into nurturing their passion. I do know that is a thing. I know that is a principle. There's some people who are very fortunate to be able to do what they want to do and get paid for it, which is what I'm trying to do. But it feels like the thought process is coming in like, why even try? Why just like you're in almost 40 now. You tried your hand for a good few years at art. You've tried your hand for like 3 years at gaming, and nothing has really come of either of them. Why keep trying? So I said all of that to ask, because I know people say, keep pursuing your dreams, follow your dreams, live your dreams. Is it okay at any point to give up on your dreams, to forget about your dreams? I know there's some people who have followed their dreams to their grave and never attained their dreams, and it was just a life of frustration and chase. So my mindset is that I'm wondering, okay, is it more fulfilling to like, hey, you did your best. The cards aren't coming out in your favor. Settle, for the lack of a better word, settle for a regular life and just enjoy life and not be frustrated by the chase. I know Stan Lee didn't get success till later in life. He was like well old before he saw the success of his um comic book characters. And then as the following grew and grew into his old age, like he was then finally able to like live off the fruits of his imaginations and endeavors. So on one hand is like, do I keep fighting and put up the fight like Stanley, hoping that one day I attain my dreams? Or do I just like, just embrace the rat race and make the best of life? It may not be the um aspirations of grandeur that you've always wanted, but it's still a comfortable life. Like, so is it I know that kind of mindset is most likely looked down upon as mediocrity, as a loser, as giving up. But in some capacity, just for an alternate view and a conversation topic, could that be good for your mental health in the long run? Is it okay to give up on your dreams? Like maybe, I don't know, like maybe giving up on what you felt was your dream and you just relent and decide to just be regular, you may end up finding something even more fulfilling. Or, you know, I don't know. Like there's so many variables. There's so many variables. Like after following the roadmap so long of like follow your passions, follow your dreams, dreams will come true, and not finding that to be true for me is like maybe it is not for me. I was just watching also on the WWE Chronicle with Drew McIntyre. He's talking about the Drew McIntyre story. If anything ever went right, it wouldn't be a Drew McIntyre story. He was talking about was it Bad Luck Drew? If his life was a comic book, it would be called Bad Luck Drew. You know, like all the ups and downs, getting into WWE, career not going as you'd want it, getting fired, coming back to WWE, the ups and downs again, and finally make it to finally won Royal Rumble to main event WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, and WrestleMania is canceled. He's like, if it was a happy ending, it wouldn't be the story of Drew McIntyre. So even like seeing his story, which was very inspiring to watch, WWE Chronicle, you should check it out. Even very gifted people who are heralded as the future, people see a bright future and greatness in you. They have like a lot of struggles as well. And of course he didn't give up and he attained his dream, but it's like, I don't know, man. I just want this to be a conversation topic. Like I need different perspective. Is there anyone out there who gave up on what they felt their dream or their passion was and life turned out better for them, or they gave up and they're miserable for giving up? Let me know. I would be very interested in having that dialogue. So that's why this video is called Dream Killer, because it's like I'm on the fence. Should I quit and just be regular, or keep trying until the wheels fall off? Let me know. All right, man.
Davey D, you have spent your life pursuing a passion, but is it time to be pragmatic?